All right. Welcome back, everyone, to a how-to video, and this is a how to make an artificer. So we're going to be looking at the artificer class. If you've never played an artificer before and you don't know where to get into it, how to make it, well, I'm going to make an artificer and just show you how to make an artificer in D&D Beyond. You have to do, of course, you have to buy the new artificer book on D&D Beyond, but it's not too expensive. And let's begin with how to make an artificer. So of course, there are two ways, but these are my characters over here. You can go click character creation if you want. But you can go to basic classes and rules, but let's go to my characters and let's create a new character. I've got lots of characters there. And we just want to create our standard character. Nothing crazy, standard. Click over here. Yeah, we've been through this before. And we're going to call him RT. Okay, so we don't want any homebrewed. We want the extended rules and we want the core rules, but nothing 2014 and nothing legacy there. And we don't want any partnered content, so that's fine. If you want dice rolling, we got to keep him milestone and fixed and all these multi-classes. This is all fine. I don't use encumbrance, so I will take encumbrance off. And we're going to make him public. Yeah, okay, so these are all the things we click. Now we go down to our class. Now we go all the way down here, extended rules, because this is where the artificer is. He's in our extended rules. So artificer, forge of the artificer, we're going to click there. And we're going to add him. But when we have a look here, artificers use their intelligence. So that's important. And their saves are constitution and intelligence. So we're just going to add that class. We're not going to do anything just yet because we want to go to our species and our ability check. So actually, let's go to our abilities first. And let's do a good old-fashioned roll for abilities. We haven't done one of these in a while. So let's create 3 groups. Depending on your DM, you might want to roll or use standard arrays, but let's just roll, right? Let's see what we get. 15, 14, so far doing quite well. 13, 15, wow, doing actually very well. Okay, well, that's very well for our first roll. Let's roll for our second one. Kind of balances it out once it gets to the second roll there. Yeah, you can see it's balancing out there really well. Okay, so we're probably going to take the first one because it's the most even. We do our last roll over here. Oh, still rolling. That's the one thing. It's got to keep on rolling for a while. Okay. Yeah, it works out. Okay, so yeah, we'll use our first one. Now, remember, with the artificer, we want intelligence and constitution. So our first one is always going to be intelligence. Then we're going to have con. We can probably dump charisma when it comes to an artificer. We don't really need charisma, but it makes sense that an artificer would be a bit wise. So let's put charisma at the 12. And let's give him a dexterity of 14 with a strength of 13. There we go. Okay, now that we've got our artificer stats, let's pick our species. Now we're going to take off legacy content, of course, and let's stick to our extended rule set. So here we go. So if you got the book, you get access to your changelings, your I can't say the name, but Kashatar, Corvatar, Shifter, and Warforged. They all have their bonuses and stuff like that. But when we have a look at our artificer, we can have a look there. As the changeling, if I remember correctly, changelings do get a bit of a bonus when it comes to their shapeshifters. The new one, you don't really get the bonus to the charisma, but they're known as shapeshifters. I don't want my artificer to be a shapeshifter. I don't think so. I want him to be a Kashatar, a Kalatar. Oh, I can't say the name, but Kalatashtar. Oh gosh, I can't say the name of this, but yes, the reason why I tend to choose this one the best is simply because when we think of artificers, we think of people that use their minds a lot to build things, and if we have a look there, they get dual mind, mental discipline, mind link, and sever from dreams. So they get advantage on wisdom and charisma saving throws, which is really good because that's usually, we put the dump stat as charisma, which is fine. And they get resistance to psychic damage. This is really fun. Of course, you've got your telepathy, mind link, and you can't be targeted by the dream spell. But because I'm making this video, I'm going to show you all the other races also. So let's take the opposite, which is the Corvo. Again, they get the Fey gift, lethargy, resistance. Of course, they're humanoid. They get dark vision of 60 feet. Advantage saves against the charm condition. So also actually a really good save if your dump stat is the charisma. You know, that's really good. And they get Fey gift. And then they have saving throws against getting unconscious, which is great. And you get the tool of your choice, proficiency in the tool of your choice, which is really fun, right? So they get versatile. This would be my second choice, right? Because why not? Depending on the type of artificer you are. When we go down over here, your shifters, they're kind of beast shape. So, you know, if you want to play a stronger artificer, maybe they do get acrobatics, athletics, intimidation, and survival, which is really good. And they can shift into their beast form and gain temporary hit points. So there we go. That's what they can do. So maybe you can be like an artificer that does change into a beast. It's completely up to you. The next one, of course, is the Warforged. Now, I actually do like playing Warforged, but remember it is a construct, so we got to be careful with that. They are constructs, of course. They do get Century's Rest, Specialized Design, Tireless, of course. They do get a bonus to your armor class, so if you're playing maybe an Artificer that was building a suit of armor, that would be great. Century's Rest, you don't need long rest. You can't really be put to sleep, but you have to be remain undisturbed for a while, motionless state. So that's pretty cool. You can pretty much design any tool, and you're tireless. You don't get dehydration. You don't need suffocation. You can't be suffocated. Usually you don't eat also. So it's kind of like a robot essentially. But for our Artificer, we got to pick this one over here. Let's add him there. Okay, there we go. And now we can actually pick our skill. I'm going to say with an Artificer, what skill would be great? I'm going to say investigation or perception. To be honest, perception is always a great go-to skill. So let's take perception. Language, let's just roll our 2d12s for our language. 1, 2. Oh, we got a 12 and a 1. So sign language and orc. Completely on the opposite ends of the spectrum, but really good. Let's take sign language and orc. Okay. Great. Now we've got our Artificer. Let's take our background. Now, again, we want a background that kind of boosts our ability scores. Now, if we go back to our ability scores, we can see we've got a 15 intelligence and a 15 constitution. So anything that boosts that up to a 16 makes it even. It's going to be great. So let's have a look over here. There's our expanded rule set. Now there are lots of houses and stuff like that you could get into, but let's just go down to the basics. We got to have a look over here. A dragon mark. We could get a dragon mark if we really wanted to. Could make sense. An archaeologist is actually really fun because we get to increase our dexterity, our intelligence, or our wisdom by 1. So that could work. And an archaeologist sounds really fun. So, and we get the skilled trait. House agent, you get lucky, and you get to increase your strength, intelligence, and charisma. But charisma's our dump stat, so we don't want that. And you get different house agents in this ability, but they all have the same like strength, dexterity. Ooh, what about an inquisitive? Let's see, is that going to give us? I mean, I like the alert stat. Yes, so inquisitor or inquisitive. We get our constitution and our intelligence increase, and we get our charisma, which remember is our dump stat, but it's always good to have that. So we're just going to increase everything by 1, right? And then we get to pick our tools. I I don't know what Artificer we're going to have for now, but let's give them... I like monster halving. That's really cool. I like that idea, monster halving tool. We also get alert, which is really fun, right? Okay, so now we've got our background. We go to our abilities. 16, 16, 13. That's fine because charisma is our dump stat, but still 13 is not a bad score, right? We could roll the 12, but we really wanted the 16s on here, the important part. So we've got our background done. Now we go to our class. We got an Artificer and we got to level him up to 3. What kind of Artificer skills we want? Well, we've already got investigation. Let's give him history. I think that makes sense. Anything to do with the mind is really good. Arcana, again, Artificers use magic and their own mental power to grow things. And then we get to give him another tool set. Now, we did give him the monster harvesting kit, which I thought was pretty fun. You know what? Let's give him smithing tools. That also makes sense to me. Like, yeah, if you want to play that. Now we go to spellcasters. We get tinkering magic, which is really good. You get to, as a magic action, you hold your tinkerer's tools and you get to create an unoccupied thing. So maybe are there tinkerer's tools? No, but we do have, no, we have smithing tools. So it's fine. Yes. So we get to have some things over here with tinkerer's tools. We get to replicate a magical item, which is really fun at level 2. And we can see there's a whole list of things over here, right? It really does give you a list and it grows with each level. So you can see there, level. It goes down and down and down. Now we get to have our magical plans. Now, what are our magical plans? It's loading over here because it's taking forever to load. I don't know why, but you've learned the arcane plan and that you can seek a magical item list below. So what kind of magical items do we want to get as our first player? And we want to play as an Artificer. What's the magical items we want to get, guys? What are the things that help us out the most, that are going to help us out in our campaign? Bag of Holding. Bag of Holding is always going to be useful to have. You can never have too many bags of holding. And it's a really fun item. Even if you don't get one in the beginning of the campaign, if we go all the way back up top here, you can see a bag of holding, doesn't require attunement, and it's got a magical plan. So these are really cool at level 2 that you can start building. Bag of holding is like always useful. Again, at level 2, which other ones could we get? I'm just going to scroll down a bit. Now, if you're not playing a human, a Beads of Nourishment is always fun, because as a construct, if I was playing a construct, I would not worry about that. But Beads of Nourishment, bead of Refreshment again. Let's see. Well, we got a bag of holding. So I would like to get maybe, let's go up to the list. I think the list is going to give us better. Yes. Okay. Goggles of the Night. Because we don't have dark vision, really good. Goggles of the Night, Sending Stones, that's the instant communication that we really need. And then maybe a weapon +1. Yeah, or a common item like a potion or something. But if I want to get stuff for, if I was playing an Artificer for the first time, I wanted to get useful items that could help me out, that we don't have to spend gold on getting, so that we could make it. So of course the bag of holding would be great. Sending Stones, we can send a message, and then Goggles of the Night because we need to see in the darkness. So we'll get those 3 over there. And also you could sell you can sell these items, right? There is no reason why you can't sell the items that you've made. And in case one of your party members doesn't have night vision, or you need extra something, it's typing Goggles of the Night, which is really good. And then Goggles of the Night, you get night vision for 60 feet. And it increases your range. Even if you have dark vision, increases your range by 60 feet. So it's really, really great for that. And then Sending Stones, let's type in Sending Stones right there. Sending Stones. Because you want to constantly give each other messages in case the party gets separated, right? Of course. And then I would also take an alchemical jug because you can make a lot of fun with an alchemical jug. It is pretty much a magical item, like a jug that can hold a gallon of liquid equal to 12 pounds, whether it's not. And then you could do a lot of fun things with the alchemical jug. You really could. Like, you can get a lot of fresh water if you want, but you could have oil and start making Molotov cocktails. You could have your basic potion. You could have acid. You could do a lot of things with the alchemical jug. It doesn't get as much use as people think. Think it does. Like, a lot of people don't use it as well because they think, oh, I'm just gonna make water. But you can get a lot of things. Any liquid. Remember, they give you a list of liquids, but you could push your DM for different types of liquids also. Now, of course, we're going to pick our subclass. What kind of subclass would we choose if I was playing an Artificer for the first time? So, Alchemist, Armorer, Artillerist, Battlesmith, and Cartographer. So if we look at the Alchemist, this is a guy that basically makes the potions and elixirs. I wouldn't really play this as a first-time player because you actually do a lot of different experiments with chemicals and chemical elixirs, and you kind of have to do a lot of micromanagement with that. It's fun to play, but if you're playing an Artificer for the first time, not my recommendation, right? An Armorer is also really fun, but you have to be aware of your armor class, so it does require a bit of understanding of how armor classes work and how to add armor classes, because you get to choose between a Dreadnought, Guardian, or an Infiltrator. Basically, Infiltrator's your spy, Guardian's your like protector, and Dreadnought's your fighter. So it does add a bit of, again, little micromanagement things there. So if you want to play that, it's in other words, it's like an Iron Man kind of build if you want to be an Iron Man. Yeah. Artillerist is a really fun one. I've played an Artillerist before because you get to have your Eldritch Cannon. And this is actually one I recommend for first-time players of an Artificer, because your Eldritch Cannon is a small cannon that you can summon as a bonus action. It has an AC of 18 and hit points of 5 times your Artificer level. So, you know, if you're starting at level 3, it's going to have 15. But it really, I mean, like, an AC of 18 is really high for anything. And you get to choose the different types you want. You get to choose the Flamethrower, the Ballista, or the Protector. You can summon them and you say, I want to summon the Flamethrower this time, the Ballista and stuff. And later on, you get to summon more than one. Now, having a Flamethrower or having something that can just take damage during a battle is really, really powerful. Like, if you just need something to eat an attack, an 18 is going to be really hard to hit sometimes, and it's also immune to psychic and poison. And having a 15-foot cone Flamethrower, it doesn't do much fire damage. It does 2d8 fire damage, but that's still damage, right? Ballista is your ranged attack. It does 2d8 force damage, and the Protector will give you temporary hit points. So that's really fun. But yeah, this is a really cool, fun thing to play. It doesn't require a lot of micromanagement. You basically get a familiar cannon that's always around you if you choose to summon it as a bonus action, which is really fun. So I would always recommend the Artillerist. But we got to look at the others also. The Battlesmith, I would say, is a bit more for the advanced player. You do get a familiar Steel Defender, which is really fun, but you also get to build a lot of things. So you actually break the infusion slots with your things, with your Artificer class. So you get to craft weapons and you get to build more and more infusements for people. So it really does help a lot. Like, you get to build a lot of things. If we break it down at the higher levels, we get an extra attack, Flash of Genius, Arcane Jolt. These are all fun things. But the Battlesmith, you get a lot of ready to attack. So if you want to, you can be a Battlesmith, but I would, you know, I would say just get a bit more experience before playing a Battlesmith. And the new thing that comes out is the cartographer, right? Now, the cartographer is actually the new one that they have brought out. It's okay. It's not for the advanced players. It's not for the novice players. It's pretty much like you get to map certain things around and see where certain things are. And if you want to play a cartographer, that's fine. You get magic mapping and different things. You get to cast fairy fire. You get to teleport later on, but it's okay. Like, it's not the best. It's not the worst. It's pretty average. But as I said, for new players, I recommend the Artillerist. It's really fun. So we've picked our Artillerist. We're going to go here. And we go all the way back to the top. And we go to the equipment. So what equipment? Let's pick standard. We don't have to pick anything. Thieves' tools, crowbar, lantern. Yeah, let's just pick all of those. We don't need to pick anything else. Add in starting equipment. There we go. Now we go to, again, what's next? Character sheet. Let's have a look at it. We get to load it. There we go. So there's our character sheet. And you can see we get advantage on charisma saving throws. We get a +1 and wisdom, but our intelligence is +5 and our constitution is +5, which is what we want. And we have a lot of things intelligence based that are high. If we just equip our studded leather armor, we get a 14 and we've got our dagger. Now, when we have a look at it, we get to look at our spells. Now, most artificers are going to have mending. Makes sense because you're mending certain things. And you would also have shield and thunder waves. Again, these make sense for the artificer class. But we have to pick certain spells also. So let's pick 2 cantrips. And we got to go down here. We just got to filter core rules. Yeah. What cantrips are we going to pick? 2. Well, we've got mending. We don't really need another healing spell. So maybe we will pick, I mean, guidance is always appreciated. So we'll pick guidance. It's a great spell. Everyone could use guidance. And maybe thunderclap, keeping with the thunder. You know, actually with all of these certain things, anyone would be great. But remember, because we are playing someone that has a mind link, we wouldn't need message. And we have the plans for Ascending Stone. So again, we wouldn't really need message here as a cantrip, maybe later on. But for now, we've got guidance and we've got thunderclap. Now for our level 1 spells, we've got shield and thunderwave. So that's our reaction spell, which is really great. I personally love grease. Grease is a great level 1 spell. And remember, being an artillerist, we can summon our artillery guy, and he's got flamethrower. Most DMs allow grease to be flammable, so it's really fun. Then let's see, I would also try get a couple of ritual spells. Maybe a detect magic makes sense for an artificer. I think that makes sense. And since we don't have fairy fire here, maybe we would pick fairy fire. We can pick 2 more. I would also pick featherfall. Featherfall is a great spell, level 1 spell, regardless. It's so useful. And we don't have an offensive spell. Well, we have Thunderwave, that's right. I'm just trying to think. There isn't a lot of offensive spells generally with the Artificer over here. You know what? I will pick Identify because it makes sense being an Artificer. You would pick Identify, and Identify is a ritual, so it's really good. So you do have Thunderwave. Identify is your ritual spell. You've got Shield, of course, and you've got Detect Magic and Grease. And then as your bonus action, it will come up over here, your Eldritch Cannon. So with the Artificer, you don't get to, especially with the Artillerists, your Eldritch Cannon's going to help you out a lot in battle. And it actually tells you there, Flamethrower. I don't know why they did this in the last one too. They only give you the Flamethrower attack, but not the force damage ballista attack, which to me they should have included another slot here for the force damage ballista attack and the protector to give you temper HP. It makes sense to put them all here, but they've only put the Flamethrower one. It doesn't make any sense for me, right? And you can see you can create one. A long rest. There we go. You've got your mind link because of your race, which is really good. You've got your tinkering magic, and you can see here limited use. There they are. Your Eldritch Cannon has 15 health. This is where it is. And you can see your attacks. They're all here. So if you're going to play an Artificer for the first time, I hope this helps you pick a great class to play as, and also just pick the stats that you want. Remember, with Artificers, it's always intelligence and constitution. Intelligence is going to be your main stat there. But whatever subclass you pick, they're really fun to play. Artificers are one of my favorite classes to play, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and a subscribe if you did. Leave a comment, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.